Hello, everyone. Good morning. We already have a comment from Frida Williams. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 55th annual um, NJ Senior Art Show ceremony. Now we're doing a red carpet for the first time, which is super, super exciting. And I am very honored to be hosting it for you all. My name is Jocelyn Jeffries. I am an intern at Arts at NJ. I am also a freelance host for various wonderful activities like this and wonderful events like this. So, to cover some ground things before we get started. So, this ceremony is partnered with Mercer County's Division of Culture and Heritage and New Jersey State Council on the Arts, a partner agency of the National Endowment of the Arts. So that's super cool that they get to partner and create this. We have another comment. Good morning from Newton, Sussex County. And then also comments are very welcome. I'm glad that we already have some going today. Please comment and they'll be put up just like I've been putting them up already. And then at the end of the red carpet, we will be redirecting you to the ceremony. So the link will be put in the description of this video. It'll be put in the comments of this video. And it will also be put in the Yes, it'll just be the comments and the description of the video. Okay, so let's get into it. Our first artist is Ellen Beth. Hello.
Good morning. It's an honor
Good
to be
morning.
here at the New Jersey Senior Citizen Art Show. Thank you, Jocelyn, and the others who made it possible.
Of course.
So, the piece that I won, which was very surprising, was a photograph of the sun rising in the mist. And do
I
you?
will put that up right now.
Okay. I don't
Let's
see
see.
it.
So this is the piece right here.
Okay. And it was taken from an upstairs window with just my phone. It was not black and white or enhanced. That's just what I saw, and that's what I got.
Wow.
Um,
Wow. It wasn't black and white?
no,
That's crazy. Wow. Well,
but
that's a very gorgeous image.
that's what happened with the mist. It kind of blocked out all the colors.
Wow, that's
Um,
fascinating.
I do a lot of different media. I like to play around with all kinds of paints and pencils and clay and fibers and silver and jewelry and glass even. But my favorite is paste paper.
And we have a
And
couple of examples right here. So this is our first one.
yes, this one was called Nanny's Pearls, my grandmother's pearls. Each pearl is cut out individually and put
That's
together.
crazy.
And let me see. Let me see if I can do this. I'm going to show you some paste paper. All right. Can you see this?
Yes, I can.
Okay. And you can get textures and then you can print over it. You can do all kinds of things. The paste I use is cornstarch paste. It's a lot like making bad gravy. It comes out like a gel. It's real thick. And then you add that to your acrylic paints and you can carve through it. I use all kinds of tools, including my fingernails, my hands, uh, plastic forks, the back of the paintbrush, all kinds of things.
And
And
does this go
when
directly onto the canvas?
this is on paper, all right, and then these papers I use to cut out. Now, if you show the second one with the flowers,
Yes, let's get to it. This one's my favorite.
okay, so the textures, the paint that's in the leaves would be really difficult to get in a painting. So therefore, when I paint these textures, then I can cut them out. And I don't always know what I'm going to use them for. I'll spend days painting. And I usually do it outside and hang it on the clothesline to dry. But then I take the ones that I want and cut them out, and then you have to paint the edges and do all kinds of things, and then glue it together. This one happens to be glued onto canvas. Usually I put it on paper, but it depends on what it looks like. The last one,
Yes.
oh, yes, you were going to say something?
Oh, no, I was going to say that one's my favorite, but they're all so lovely.
This one is a self-portrait. And the black and white is actually thin strips that have been woven together.
Wow. Let's
And
see
the
if we can
background.
zoom in on that.
Oh, there you go. And the
Wow, look at
eyeball,
that.
I was able to get that the shine in it and the whole thing.
Yeah, that's
My
really interesting.
eyes have always been my best feature, so.
Oh,
And I love orange and turquoise, so there's all the colors, and that was on my hair.
absolutely. So you had bangs before?
Yeah, at one point. I cut it, I grow it, it's just whatever.
Well, that's
But anyway,
awesome.
that's the kind of things. Now this one is 16 by 20, and the one that you liked, the small part was only I think 5 by 5
Oh, okay.
or 4 by 6. That is 4 by 6. So yeah, they range. I use all different sizes. Of course, the smaller ones, I sometimes have to work with tweezers.
Oh. So how did you discover this art, this type of art?
About close to 25 years ago, there was
Wow.
a uh, like a summer camp for teachers, and it was
Cool.
excellent. It was uh, Artist Teachers Institute. It was also Dodge Foundation and the uh, Endowment for the Arts and a couple of other groups got together, and it was 10 days. And it's fantastic artist Barber was teaching this. So we spent the first day making paste paper, and then we would do all kinds of things with it.
Well, that's super neat. So I'm going to say a comment right here from Trisha. Love learning something new. So interesting. Thanks. It is super interesting. I got the opportunity to chat with you about it a little bit before the red carpet, and I was so excited to hear you talk about it.
As a former art teacher too, so I got a chance to experiment with it and use it, have my kids do different things with it, and it's been very rewarding.
Well, thank you so much, Ellen Beth. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you have a wonderful ceremony. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye now.
Okay, so our next person coming up is Bill. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Jocelyn. How are you today?
I'm doing quite well. This is super exciting. I'm super excited to actually see you all in person. I've got to get to know you through your emails, but that's not the same. So, I'm going to put up your artwork. Let's see.
And that piece it's done with Prisma pencils. They're a waxy type of pencil that you blend. It's quite interesting. I like to work with the Prisma pencils, and watercolors would be my favorite medium. But
Okay.
this year I put in a pencil drawing, and it took an honorable mention. I was surprised to see that, but
Okay.
I
Well,
like,
that's good.
yeah, I like to work from travel pictures basically. And this picture was taken over in France in Giverny, when we saw Claude Monet's water lily gardens, and these hens just happened to be running around there. And
Okay.
I caught a picture of them, and I worked from a photograph.
And you mentioned when we talked earlier that you work from a lot of different photographs, and we have some other examples right here. Would you like to show those?
You go right ahead.
Okay.
And this is a collage really from New Orleans, all the street singers and musicians. That was done a few years back, but I gave this to you as an example of Prismacolor, Prisma pencils again, and that's what this picture was done with.
This is really, really neat. How did you start it? Because you see the very straight lines right here, and then you bridged into each of them. Did you start with the lines? Did you start with certain shapes?
You're correct. I did try and just block this out into 4 equal portions and just allowed them to overlap as they fit in. Before I ever started drawing this, with photographs, you can cut and paste and you can move them around to see how you would like them to actually fit together as a piece. So,
wow, that's really neat. I think the balls, I guess, around his neck
yeah, really.
have very interesting depth to them.
I'm glad you like that.
Yeah,
It's fun. I enjoy doing that. Yes.
Yeah. So then here's another example.
Here again, this is Prisma pencil, and this was from a mission I took, a dental mission to Malawi in 2018. And this was a group of kids that we happened to be playing with out of an orphanage. And they were just a happy bunch. And here again, from a photograph, I was able to work this Prisma pencil drawing. And it's a good memory for me. And that's what I like about these travel pictures that I draw and paint. They're just always a memory of, good times and places.
And I really like the little details. Like, I think this is what comes from it coming from a photo, is the details of the crowds and the way each of them looks. It's great. So we're going to move on to our last example, and then I will bid you adieu.
And this is a watercolor.
Yes.
This was taken in Christchurch, Australia, of a punting event. And what's special about this to me is, I like the picture a lot, but believe it or not, while we were punting on these boats, the Eagles were playing and winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow.
So we were getting text messages the whole time, back and forth from the US about how the Eagles were doing while we were on vacation here. So that's another memory that is triggered in this picture. It's not just the photo itself, that has many more memories.
Which is lovely. And I think we're going to see that a lot with everyone's piece of art, is that it's not only just the image itself, it's everything that comes along with it.
That's for sure.
Thank you so much, Bill. I hope you have a great day and a great ceremony. Congratulations.
Nice talking with you, Jocelyn.
Nice talking to you. So our next person is Susan Pett. Hi, Susan.
How are you?
I'm doing super well. I'm really enjoying talking to everyone. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, except that I am now on my iPhone, so I hope you can see me because nothing else is cooperating this morning.
I can see you very well.
Oh, good.
So let's
put
up
to be here.
Your piece. It is super exciting.
Okay, this piece is a watercolor, and it was from a photo I took many years ago when I was on a locomotive trip, actually, in the Colorado Rockies.
Wow.
And I just like the idea of painting from way back, like you're standing way back in the car, looking out the window over everybody else's heads. And that's where that inspiration came from.
I don't think I would have guessed that it was because of the angle. It looks like it's inside of a house.
Oh, well, we're actually inside a train.
Wow.
Looking out the window.
That's very cool.
Locomotive. Thank you.
So what is the art that you're doing here? So what is...
This is a watercolor.
Yes. And so how long have you been doing watercolor?
I've been doing watercolor for almost 3 years.
Okay. Very nice.
I actually come from a family that's all artists and musicians, and I took the music route until 3 years ago. I decided to try art, and I'm really enjoying it.
Well, that's awesome. What was your instrument of choice?
Piano. I taught general music in public schools for, oh my gosh, about 46 years.
Okay. And then we have an extra photo because we get to meet you head on. We don't get to see this part of you.
Yes, my husband entitled this self-portrait. This is
Oh.
actually me sitting on the couch eating popcorn. I'm in an art class with colored chips by Domenica Como, and our assignment was to paint something yellow. And I thought, I really don't want to paint a banana or a sunflower or a golden delicious apple. So I looked down and I thought, oh my gosh, I have on these yellow shorts. So that's how this came to pass.
Well, that's great. You look around and you see exactly what you're looking for.
Yes, and that also was watercolor.
Very nice. And so, is this your first year at the NJ State Senior Citizen Art Show?
Yes, it is. So it's very exciting.
That is exciting. And so, everyone who's come here, for context for those who may not know, everyone who has been entered into this contest won for their county. So, what was it like when you learned that you were first in your county?
Well, it was shocking, actually. I was really shocked and so happy. It was really exciting.
Well, there you go.
Like Grandma Moses, right?
Oh, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say it's like Grandma Moses. She started so late in life painting, and the same with me. So it's been a lot of fun learning how to paint with watercolors.
Absolutely. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about that later with a couple other people who are on. But that's a very common theme, is that you can start at any time in your life and you can be really, really good at it. You would have not even known your whole life, or you can start and learn and then you know you're good at it. It could be, you could start at any time, and that would be, and you could have a whole new perspective.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
I hope you do too. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Enjoy the ceremony.
Thanks.
So while we are waiting for our next person, I'm going to go through some comments. We have hello from Sussex County. And then I also want to visit back a piece that I missed earlier from William. And here we go, from Bill. And this is Cathedral Geese. And that won him a prize as well. So I'm going to have Ellen Beth back on to discuss. She's surprised by this, but we're going to discuss her art some more because we are missing a person, and so I figure might as well go back and discuss.
Okay. Okay, with that.
So this one you mentioned was an award from another ceremony.
Right. Office of the Aging. I think it came from that one. What it was saying, though, is each one of the pearls is cut out individually and then highlighted and shadowed as it's needed. This was a show that we had done in Millville at the Renaissance Center. There is a ceramic artist named Terry Plaskett, and we were kind of honoring his ceramics. So a friend of Linda Robinson, who does pastels, did some pieces, and Dave Waller, who does photography, did some. And so this, together with Terry's ceramics, was the show.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and it was interesting. So that's one of his pieces, plus the pearls. But the pearls, now, when I learned how to make this paste paper, the collage type pieces that we were making were just big and bold. I turned around and did smaller pieces and things like these pearls, which was very different from what I had learned. But that's the way it progressed for me.
That is super neat. So now I'm going to um, let you go back to where you were, but thank you for sticking around and being our fill-in.
I'm watching. This is very interesting.
I'm glad. So since the woman who was going to be coming on a little bit at this time, a little bit earlier, is not able to make it, I will be going through her art. So this is Joy Creeve's work, and she is from Mercer County. And the title of this piece, and this is the piece without the black light, and this is the piece with the black light. And this piece is called Morning Rock with Kickstand, and morning is spelled morning as in sorrowful, not morning as in brand new day. And then here is another piece from her. And this shows that piece with blacklight as well. And blacklight is a very common piece of her art. So with that, we're going to move on to our next artist. Hello, Wendy.
Hi.
Hi, so
Nice
excited
to
to
be
see
here.
you. So I will be putting up your piece. And this is gorgeous. It reminds me of the introduction of Beauty and the Beast with the deer.
Yes, well, I do love to do wildlife and landscapes, as you can see.
Absolutely.
It actually is a photograph that I took. We are fortunate enough to live on property that has been in my family's name since 1925. And there is a stream that runs through the property here in Sparta, New Jersey, that I walk the dog along. Almost every morning we go for a walk in the woods, and it was a very peaceful scene that I photographed, but there were no deer. And after I did the painting, I thought, well, wouldn't it look terrific to have as a center of interest a doe with her fawns? It's a spring scene. It lends itself to having the wildlife right there on the edge of the stream. And so I did put the deer in as an afterthought, and I was very happy with the piece and the way it turned out.
Absolutely. And it's really neat that, so when I typically have known about oil paintings, they're typically very heavy, and this one has a very light feeling to it, especially the water. I want to zoom in on that because it even includes the reflection, which is just superb. Look at that. Wow.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
So what are some techniques you can share about how you get it to be so graceful?
I do work, like the reflections would have to be worked wet. The whole thing has to be done at once. And it generally takes me 3 or 4 sessions to do a landscape. And actually, I'm not sure where I read about it, but I put my actual canvas in our freezer between painting sections to keep the paint wet. And of course, when it's wet, it blends more easily. So it doesn't seem to harm the painting, and it lets me spread my working time out for a lot longer than I would if it were drying between sessions. Another thing I try to include is I love the lavenders in a painting, lavenders and greens. I usually don't put, in a photograph it's not lavender, it's just gray. But I love that hint of color in there. And I do use the same colors throughout the painting rather than just in one section. So it unifies the piece.
Absolutely. So where did you take this photo again?
When?
No, where and when?
Okay, this is in Sparta, New Jersey. It's a stream that runs through our property that goes, eventually it goes into the Wallkill River. But it's originates the overflow from Lake Saginaw in Sparta. And it runs through our property, and it's a very picturesque place. And I like to do paintings that personally mean something to me. I think it adds to the quality of the piece if it's something that is a special place.
That you can feel the emotion behind it.
Yes.
Absolutely. Right. So how did it feel getting nominated and winning in your county, Sussex County?
Well, it was very special. I've been an artist for 40 years, so I've actually won quite a few awards, but this is my first time winning. Well, I should say second time winning with the senior show. But I'm very honored to represent Sussex County in a professional oil category. So I thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day and have a happy ceremony.
Very good. This is a lot of fun. I look forward to listening to the rest of this.
Okay, well, that was Wendy. And so we are having some technical difficulties for Norman, and I'm just going to quickly go through his art so we can see it. And then if he comes on a little bit later, then that would be super awesome, and then we'd get to discuss it with him. So this is a piece from Norman, and it is titled Whaling 19th Century. And so there's a lot of really great details, so I hope he can get on. Technology is confusing for everyone. And then this is a piece that is going to be cast soon, and he can talk to you more about that when he can get on. So we're going to move on to Ellen Rebarber. Hello, Ellen. Oh, you're muted.
Okay. Okay.
We're good now.
This is very, very exciting.
Well, it's super exciting to have you on. And so please introduce yourself while we pull up your art.
My name is Ellen Rebarber. I am a sculptor. Many years ago, after I retired from teaching, I took classes. I knew exactly what I wanted to do when I retire. And I took classes at Middlesex County College and learned how to use all the tools. And then I went to Rutgers and the School of Mason Grove School of the Arts, and I took sculpture and had some wonderful, wonderful teachers. Rudy Serra, and that he kept pushing us to make bigger, bigger, bigger. So I actually did sculptures on a 15-foot ladder.
Wow.
Which I can no longer do. Oh. So now I'm doing glass, and I'm doing fused glass. and it's a wonderful artistic venue for me at this point in my life. And
Absolutely.
so there's my photo, my sculpture, and it's called Breaking Out. And I came to make it. First, I was thinking of color, and I'm always involved with light. So a lot of this is transparent, so the light either is reflected or goes through it. And also, it was a time I just became a great grandma. And
Congratulations.
thank you. And it was right after I had my last shot, after having stayed in for a very long time, kind of confined to my home. And I have been making things mostly within the size of the glass, but this time I felt I need to really break out from the virus, break out into society again, and break out into a new creative portion of my artistic growth. And so I went beyond the canvas, which is glass for me, and I completed Breaking Out.
Well, that's wonderful. And we have a couple comments to go through, but one of them is that you won first place professional sculpture this year, and that's super, super awesome. So
Thank you.
congratulations with that. And also congratulations on the great grandchild.
Thank you.
And then we also have a comment which was from a little bit earlier, which is Sussex County is a beautiful part of the state. And then we have a couple of other comments, which is hello from Mercer County, and that's Joy Crews, who was going to be on earlier, and if she can come on a little bit later, then we'll get to meet her. But if not, we got to see her beautiful art. And then we have another comment, which is specifically related to you, Ellen, and it says, nice to hear about the process of creating artwork.
Thank you.
And your sculpture is so explosive, and it's great to hear the surrounding around it.
Right. So I work in my studio, which is in my basement of my home. However, I've recently been flooded, so I'm trying to figure out where else I can work.
Oh, no.
But my creative juices are still running, and I often wake up with a thought, and I sketch it in my little notebook right by my bed. And
There you go.
I love working with glass, and I have done other. I have used other materials through the years, ceramics and paper, and sometimes I even incorporate. For example, I love the feeling of wood for the base, the warmth of the wood against the coolness of the glass. I feel that's a nice combination. And
It's a nice contrast.
yes, right. And as far as subject matter, I usually don't have a specific idea in mind, but I'm always concerned about light and color, and how ways in which to create something new or different that provokes me.
Well, thank you so much, Ellen. I'm so glad we got to see your art, and congratulations on your first place.
Thank you very much. It's really very exciting.
It's so exciting. Have a great rest of your day and have a wonderful ceremony.
Thank you.
So now we're getting to loop back because Norman is able to get on. So we're going to say hello to Norman. Hi.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's so exciting to see you.
Yeah,
So,
we have a few devices. I guess we managed to get one working.
Well, there you go. I'm glad you could get it working. It's so complicated with everything. So the technology that we're using, the platform that we use to do this red carpet is called StreamYard, and so it's a little bit different than Zoom or WebEx and all of those, and so they're a little bit weirder to it may be a little bit harder to get it all set up. But
Right.
no worries at all. So I showed your art a little bit beforehand, and we have tons of questions, so I'm going to put it up right now.
Okay.
So there you go.
Yep.
And so what inspired the shape, I think, is one of my most.
Well, it's a wooden panel that was a tea set for serving tea, and I broke it apart and used the tabletops and parts of the legs to create this panel, wood panel. Anyway, the painting and the ship model and the whale, I just is a favorite hobby of mine, building ship models and sculpting and painting. So I managed to do all three on one
Place.
project, yes, in one place. So it's a combination of ship model building. I built the miniature ship out of wood, and the whale is clay, polymer clay, and of course the painting is an acrylic on a wooden panel.
Okay.
Created a whaling scene, which is again I grew up with the idea of going down to the sea in ships, as they say. So,
Okay. And New Jersey, which this is also a really nice piece for New Jersey because New Jersey was a really big whaling state.
uh-huh. Yeah, this is the Charles W. Morgan is the model, and it's actually a museum piece up in Mystic Seaport, and it was out of New Bedford, Massachusetts. It was one of the big whaling seaports on the East Coast. Yes.
Absolutely. And so we have one more piece that you sent over.
Oh,
And so
that's a current sculpture. That what we're looking at there is I use the plastiline clay to model that piece, and right now that's in the foundry here in Brooklyn, and it's being prepared to be bronzed. So the foundry work is pretty intricate. It has to be cut up to make the first mold. The foundry has to give me the same image back in wax, because in order to get bronze, they use the lost wax method, and
Okay.
which is 5,000 years old. The Chinese did that 5,000 years ago. So it's a two-step process. The first mold is to give the artist back a wax replica, and then the artist will make adjustments as necessary. And then once that is done, a concrete mold will be made where the molten bronze will be poured into, melt the wax out, and the bronze will be poured into.
Well, that sounds lovely, and it sounds like a really great piece to make out of bronze. And so we have one more question before I let you go from Trisha as well, and she says, "Love the feeling of the whaling piece." And she says, "Do you often use found objects for your art?"
Yes, I've painted on the burls of trees, the trees and different things. Yeah, different nature objects I've painted on. Yeah.
Well, that's lovely. Well, thank you so much for coming in. I'm sorry the technology was confusing, but I'm so happy we got to chat. And I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great ceremony.
Thank you, and you too.
And so now we have Joy. Hello, Joy.
Hi, I'm so glad I got in finally. Sorry to
Of
be late.
course. I wouldn't keep you out. As long as you can get to the studio, we're gonna have you on. So it's so exciting to see you. We got to see your art a little bit beforehand, but of course, I am not the artist, so I don't know as much as you do about the lovely piece. So let's get that up. And there you go. So this is morning rock with kickstand. And so morning is a really interesting word to use. What's some thought behind that?
Well, the reason this is called Mourning, MOURNIG, rock, is last fall, my husband died. We were almost married 36 years. And so this was the first piece that I did right after he passed away. And I was, I process my life, my experiences through my art. And so I set out to make a very dark rock, and I made it almost black. And then, I really had a lot of support from friends and family, and I wasn't happy with just plain dark rock. So I added the orange kickstand. That kind of symbolizes that support. And then I also started using invisible paints and day glow and UV glow paints. So this is really, you just flash through a photo of it without the charge. That's how it looks right now in my studio. And for the photo that I had sent in that has all the blues and greens, that's all the invisible paint that charges up and then glows. So I really like that things can have these different levels of experience on the same object and the same surface. And the texture is not so, material. It kind of has other dimensions. So that was the first piece, I think, that I did with this glow paint. Yeah, that's how it looks without it. Most of the time it looks like that.
Did you create the rock, or was this a found rock that you added the paint onto?
That is cardboard armature that I built, and it's covered with paper clay.
Wow.
So I used to do a lot of ceramics, and now I've moved into this paper clay, which is, it's a little bit clay-like, but it's sort of like paper mache.
Okay. And so then this next piece that you sent in, you used the paint again. And then did you create the rock again as well?
Yes, this one is almost finished, but not quite. I set out to go from, because I made rocks, I've made geode-inspired pieces, and I thought, well, I'll make one that's like a cave painting and a piece of a rock wall. But I wanted it to look, exciting without the glow paint also. So this is how it looks in normal light. And then I decided to, I had written a poem called Cows Will Lie Down Before the Rain. And so instead of bison and hunting, which I have no experience with, I decided to paint cows lying down on my rock wall. And so the next photo that you were showing, can you get that one up with the
Oh, yes,
flashlight?
absolutely.
Yeah, so that's just showing how I have to work when I'm using these paints though, because they are really invisible and I can't see what I'm doing without having the UV light right
Wow.
up against it. So it's it's pretty hard to do line work with that paint. You have to go, you know, three to six coats on the same line to really get it to glow. And so you have to, you know, be able to see where you had painted previously. So I'm not actually enjoying that part of the process at all.
But it's worth it.
I'm going for that effect. On the Morning Rock, you know, it was more of a overall brushed on texture, and I didn't do the lines, so that was a little easier.
Well, thank you so much. And it was beautiful to see each of your pieces, and it was great to get to see you. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Jocelyn.
Thank you. And so our next person who is on, our next artist is Frank. Hi, Frank.
Hi, Jocelyn. How are you?
I'm doing super well.
Pleasure to be here, and I've just honored to follow some of the last artists that you've interviewed. They're very inspiring.
Everyone is just so excellent. It's amazing. So let me go grab your piece. Let's see here. So, yes, okay. Since we've had a couple different entrances and changes, I had to make sure that it was the right piece, and this is it.
Yes. Yeah, the color.
It's behind you, isn't it?
Yes, it
or is
is.
that another piece?
No, that's the same piece. It's a little. The original has a little darker. The color in this one is not quite, and value is not quite as accurate. I think the county did the photograph as opposed to myself, but the composition is there, and the whole subject matter and the influence of what I was going for is there.
Okay. And so what were you going for? What is the statement of this piece for you?
I've lived here in Somerset County and specifically in Franklin Township for about 42 years. And I often have walked and on a frequent basis run all along the Delaware and Raritan Canal, which runs from New Brunswick through to Trenton. And so I often go along there and have numerous times gone out to take reference material and photos. And I found that very inspiring. And this was one of the snowstorms from a year or so ago. And walking between Blackwell's Mills and the Griggstown causeways that go over the Millstone River. The Millstone River was one of the unfortunate rivers, along with the North Branch of the Raritan and the Raritan River, that just flooded in Ida recently, that flooded Manville and Bound Brook and many of the communities, including parts of the communities that I live along Eastern Avenue. And thank goodness where my wife and I are, we're higher up level, so we were not affected personally. But the Millstone River is a nice river, runs all the way down through, as I said, all the way down to Trenton. And as I was walking along the towpath, looking for reference material, I spotted this little creek that was emptying into the Millstone River. And after I first did the painting, with all my paintings, what I like doing is pencil studies. I'll do thumbnail sketches, compositional sketches, and then a smaller, fairly detailed value study of the piece, which I have up there. I'm not sure if it's visible, but it's a very small, it's a fairly tight value study. And after that, it was the tree seemed to be the most important object in it, the tree off in the composition. So I thought that was very uninteresting. So I scoured through some other references that I had taken, and the deer that I put in the composition, two of them were on my neighbor's lawn across the street, and one in the parking lot area where I teach. And so I liked all three of those positions, and then scaled them, and then put them in the composition. And thus the title of the work, which is called Millstone River Feeders. It's kind of a play on the little stream feeding into the Millstone River and the deer feeding along the banks of the Millstone River, which are fairly common through that area. Thus the title. It was late afternoon when I was out there walking, so the sun had broken through, and there was a strong light. And what really inspired me is the contrast of very warm orange glow of the lights against the very cool bluish tints of the shadows that were cast by the trees. And I tried to set up the composition with the strong vertical and horizontals, the horizontal of the river and the verticals of access of the trees, and break that up with that diagonal feed of the channel of the stream feeding into the river. And then had a lot of fun playing around the edges with the branches and kind of trying to direct the viewer's eye towards the composition of the three deer and the stream.
It does have a lot of depth to it, which I think is a really good note. And so we have a comment, and Trisha says, could Frank bring the value study closer to the screen?
That was not too much of a glare on it.
Let's see. I'm going to remove myself just for a moment so we can see how close. We can see it nice and close.
Okay, that's the value study of the drawing. It's a fairly small one. I work in this format pretty much with everything I do before I go to a full color. I'll do a value pencil study, sometimes extremely loose, and then tighten them up over a period of time. This summer we were out visiting our son and his family in California and went to Yosemite. So I did a series of value summaries of this was El Capitan and one of the streams in the river. So I often do these pencil studies when I'm out drawing, or just a study of a pine tree. But so some of the more interesting falls that were out there. So some of them are, as you can see, are fairly small. This is Vernon Falls out in Yosemite. So I enjoy doing this. It really allows me to explore compositional elements, remove items, put items in, shift them over, and then the value studies establishes through the lights and darks, and where I put the light, middle values, and darks, and the focus of interest, and then go into the color, and then try to select with my pastels. I try to select a color scheme as I'm working based on what the subject matter is.
Well, thank you so much. We're running out of time, but this is such a beautiful photo. It was great talking to you. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great ceremony. And I look forward to seeing more of your work.
And thank you so much, and congratulations to all the participants and winners.
Thank you. Okay, so our next artist coming on is Joan Wheeler. Hi, Joan.
Hi.
So, I'll be putting your art in just up in just a moment. So you're from Burlington County. I'm from Burlington County.
Right. Okay.
It's so cool. It was nice to see that. So let's put this up. So this has a lot of color depth to it. So that's the thing which first I noticed about it. So what is some notes you have, because this is a photograph, correct?
Yes. Yes. This is a photograph. It was taken in somewhere in the Delaware Water Gap. Was driving home and saw these old barns and just pulled right in. I'm always looking for something for the old things that are old, kind of forgotten. Trying to just so we can remember them.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the balance of the tree with the barn is really neat.
Yeah, that tree was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
It's old. It's probably pretty dead. I don't even know if it's still there, but I just loved the tree. So I was trying to fit the tree in with the barns. Yes.
We have a comment from Rusticat, and they say, "Old barns are my favorite. Great shot."
Thanks. I'm always on the lookout. My husband goes out and he comes back and he goes, "Oh, Joan, I found a barn. Come on, we have to go."
Let's go. We gotta go take a picture.
So I'm always looking wherever I go. I'm looking for barns, whether it's in Burlington County, it's somewhere else in the state, or any, wherever I travel. I'm always looking for old barns and a lot of old buildings, interesting old buildings, trying to photograph them before they get torn down.
Yeah. And there's some people who, especially in our county, I've seen it happen a lot, where there's just so much land, and so people just buy land and then they just leave whatever structures there.
Right.
And I think that's a great preservation, is if you have those old properties, might as well just keep them standing up unless you need the space for something else.
Right. And there's some really old ones that are like on their last leg. I'm a chicken. I don't go inside. I mean, some of them are, no trespassing, but I know that when I was taking classes a number of years ago, these young kids would go in and walk in these old houses and buildings and photograph the insides. That's not me. It's more the outsides.
Yeah. And then the way you capture both ages of the tree and the building, it's excellent, and then it shows the adventure.
Yeah, it used to be, there's a number of barns on that side, number of different buildings on that site. And it used to be something where they did something there where the public came, because there were still some old signs. But I'd love to go back in the winter. I think the fall.
And see the way
the
snow lands.
Yes, I think it would be beautiful, but I got to find it. I'm not quite sure. My friend that was with me says she could find it. I wasn't driving, so
I thought you were being coy. You really don't know where it is.
I really don't. I can picture it's a road that runs along the river, somewhere along the river. I have no idea what it is. I'm sure if I did a lot of research, I could figure out. We were coming from Peters Valley, so we'd spent a weekend running a workshop. So,
well, very cool.
Well, I was the assistant. She was the teacher, but
you still helped.
It was an alternative photography, so.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. That was a lovely image. And I hope you have a great rest of your day and a wonderful ceremony.
You too.
Okay, so our next artist is Bill Coddley. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. Sorry for the wait. We're shifted around over here.
They've been very interesting conversations.
Oh, absolutely.
This one will be a come down.
Oh,
Much
no.
more boring than all the others.
And so yours is really interesting, and I'll put it up in just a moment, in that it is our first, is it completely pencil?
Yes.
And so did you start with a blank piece of paper?
Yeah, I started with a photograph that I saw in a newspaper long ago. I don't remember how long ago. It was a huge photograph. I think a full newspaper page of this man's face. He has a huge beard. And really, the beard was the focus of the image. I tore out the picture just because I was struck by it. And it was in a folder for several years until just recently. When it popped up again, I looked at it and I thought that the interesting part was not the beard. It was the man's face and his eyes in particular.
His eyes remind me of Johnny Cash. I don't know why. It's just the vibe of the photo.
Maybe the squint.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting, and it feels it has all of those feelings of it's comfortable while simultaneously a little sad. Like there's emotion to it of sadness.
It seems to me to that the man is about to give you an order. He's about to say something.
Yeah. And that's so interesting that we could both have these interpretations of it based on all of our other experiences with our facial recognition.
Yeah.
Well,
I
that's
thought
beautiful.
of titling it, "I'm in charge here."
Well, thank you very, very much.
Thank you. I've enjoyed the show.
Yes, I'm glad. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You have a good one too. Thanks.
And have an awesome ceremony.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. And so our next artist is Patty. Hi, Patty.
Hi, Jocelyn.
So I'm super excited because we talked about what we're going to talk about right now a little bit earlier with one of our earlier artists. And so I think it's interesting that this will be a follow-up as well on that, and then also its own whole thing. But we're going to start with the piece that you submitted.
Okay. 3
that you won for.
This is my mixed media. I love doing mixed media. I do lots of different, I love acrylic. The mixed media probably is my favorite that I've been working on right now. When I started to compose it, I love to put lots of texture in the background. So I have a lot of vintage papers that I love to work with. And although you can't always see the print or what is on it, I know what's, in the background. And I figured when I finally decided that, I'm going to take the time to follow my dream and do the painting and the artwork, that I was going to do it my way. I have no formal training, so I really never had the confidence until I met a wonderful man, Bob Reed, who was my photography teacher not that many years ago, who took me under his wing and truly changed my life by instilling in me confidence to pursue my dream. So I will love him forever for that. But this is one of my things from my photography. I branched out to paint and then to the mixed media here. And it's titled 3 for Tea because it inspired me and looking forward to finally being able to sit down in person with my family and friends over a cup of tea. During the pandemic, I realized a lot of things, and one of the things was to be able to sit and have a conversation in person with people that you cared about. I took for granted.
It was a luxury.
And I will never take that for granted again. So that was the inspiration for my 3 for Tea. And there's actually real tea bag tabs in there. And I love the texture. You can't really see on a photograph, but there's a lot of texture in my mixed media. And when I see my artwork, it just makes me smile. I don't paint realistically. I paint what I feel and what I see. So that's my 3 for Tea.
And so that leads us into this right here.
My wonderful mother, who and what I wanted to convey was it's never too late to get started. I'm 68 years old. I didn't start painting or creating and for my art career until my late 50s. And when my mom is in a long-term care facility, and they are wonderful there, but she was quarantined for over a year and sat by her bedroom window and waited for my sister and I to visit her each day with a smile on her face. And I got to say, what an inspiration she was and is. So what we started doing was sending in art supplies. So she has, in her little room, she has a whole art studio set up in there. And I actually, on her behalf, I entered some of her artwork, and she was very excited about it because she's never painted like doing any of this before. And at 87, she has started her own art career and has actually sold some new cards of her artwork. And yeah, she's such an inspiration that, I just wanted to share that with everyone, that it really, truly is never too late to follow your dream or to start something new. And Mom's that.
Yeah, absolutely. And her being quarantined is like this other one you said did. And is this her work and yours?
This is my work. It's another thing that inspired me as I was sitting in my home art studio, and truly my artwork, it saved me through this whole pandemic to be able to express myself. But my quarantine birds, I was sitting and just looking out the window and just watching the birds just go on with their lives. And it just inspired me to start painting the birds, that they had not a care in the world. And so I started a whole series. I painted these whimsical quarantine birds, is what I called them. And then from there, I started doing paper clay sculptures of each one of the photographs. And again, they just made me smile and kept me positive through the whole pandemic. And and I'm just very honored. Like I said, I'm self-taught, and I'm just very honored to be among all these wonderful artists. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing your stories with us and sharing your art with us. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Hey, thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so our next artist is Maria. Hi, Maria.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Well, finally.
Okay.
Accessing this site, but we're all squared away now.
We're all good now. So let's put your piece up. And you sent in a couple other ones, and we'll go to those as well. But we're going to start with the one which you placed for.
Sure. This is part of an image, a resource photo that I took when I was at Howell Farm. I am influenced a great deal by my surroundings and my experiences. And I was accompanying another watercolor friend, and I had never been to Howell Farm, and she suggested that we go there and do some plein air painting. But while I was there, I also took a lot of photos, and I was particularly interested in the gentleman who was in charge of the horse team that was going to pull the hay wagon. And I snapped a photo of him hitching up two horses, and I thought I would do both of them. But then when I did my value study, I realized he was in the center of the paper, and I couldn't very well do that. So I opted to just do the horse on his right. And that's how this came to be. And there are several parts of this painting that thrilled me as I was finding it on paper. Some reflected color and what have you. And again, coming up with the name for Hitched Up, I was struck by the gentleman because he had suspenders on and they were hitching up his britches. And he was hitching up the team. And I just thought it was a perfect title for
it was a play like Frank's earlier, where it was two type of name where it refers to many different things in the painting.
Right.
Well, that's lovely. And so we have a couple other paintings, and two of them are produce. And so you mentioned that you're very inspired by your county.
Yes, I live in Salem County, Farm County generally, and we have horses and cows close to us, and little roadside stands and what have you. And all my paintings have a story. This particular one, the plate, I was in France with a client, and I was setting up some still life to take a photograph, so that I could possibly paint them later. And she noticed that I was using this Delft plate, and she said, "Oh, take it with you." So I carried it home, and it's a treasure of mine. So I thought, if there was a miniature show, this is a small piece. And I thought I could use that plate and maybe put a couple of tomatoes on it. And since it's a summer show, red, white, and blue, Jersey tomatoes, it all worked together. And I called her to tell her that I was going to use the plate in a painting. And she said, "Oh, slice the tomato." And I thought, what? That's going to be too hard. They are juicy and what have you. But I tried it, and then it seemed to work out. I was thrilled with the little piece. So.
It's very nice. And then the next one is onions. Right.
Because Salem County has the county fair every August, early August. And I went there, and I'd never been to a county fair. I haven't lived here all my life or anything. So went to the county fair, and I was particularly impressed with these onions, and they won first place. So that's the title of the piece, first place.
They won first place in what?
In the onion competition, where they put out the produce. And it was among many onion candidates, but these were particularly plump and color, the color was rich, and I thought, oh, that's a great subject. And again, there's some loose, watery places in the painting that I had fun letting the paint play on the paper.
Absolutely. And then the last one that you sent in was this one, I believe, right? Or is there another one? Oh, there is another one. But let's talk about this one first.
Yes. There's a Nature in the Landscape annual show every September, and I was looking for something for a subject, and I drove by a sign that said the Suquanna Meadows, and it's a national animal refuge, wildlife refuge. And I'd never been there, so I drove down the road, and I never got to the actual meadows, because as I was driving down, out of the corner of my eye, I caught this brilliant blue in the distance. So I just turned my car around to see what that was, and here it was, the sky reflecting on the water in the distance, and it was just looking through the wetland, the little watery avenues that run through there. And I stopped and took a photo, and that was the whole thing, was to capture that brilliant blue. And I had time enough to study it visually and take a single photo, and all of a sudden the color was gone.
Wow.
So it was a serendipitous moment for that inspiration. But that's here in Salem County.
And that's Salem County, and this is too.
Yes, it is. This is a road. Route 45 runs from Salem to Woodbury, and I live in the Woodstown area. So heading to Salem, this little farmhouse is on the left-hand side. And because I haven't been painting a very long time, 2012, I started in 2012.
Okay.
Practically every painting I do is like, ooh, I wonder how you do that. And this one was, how do you paint melting snow on an old dirt driveway?
Yeah. So
this was a trial and error piece, and as all my pieces are. And this is what I got out of it.
Absolutely. This one is probably my favorite, just because it has such a nostalgic feeling to it.
Yes, yes. And that's why I titled it "Been Down This Road Before."
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because it has that feeling of home, and kind of that Christmassy kind of feeling where it's,
right,
over the river to grandma's house.
Yes, yes. Indeed. Yep.
Well, thank you so much, Maria. I'm so glad we got to go through and see a lot of your pieces. And well, not all of them, of course, because I see many, many back there, but we got to see a good array.
Well, I'm so honored to be part of the show. I don't know why more senior professionals don't enter it. It's a wonderful support of what the state does. So
absolutely.
I'm grateful.
Well, thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.
You do the same, and everyone out there.
Okay, so our next artist is Gil. Is that right? Because it's like guitar. So is it Gil?
Yes, it is. This me.
Okay, rock and roll. So it is super nice to meet you. And I think your piece is really interesting because I saw the image before I saw the name, and so I was like, oh, that's neat, it's very cubist and stuff. And then the name is so funny to me because it looks like the name is alpaca, and it looks like an alpaca.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, this is a coincidence. Let's say that beginning by saying that I like to do art not from any resource I can have handily, and actually this is the case. I bought a new medicine cabinet, and within the box, I found some phone protectors that I found very interesting because of the way they were assembled. I started to play with them as if they were Legos. Wow. Until I found the ideal arrangement to create a sculpture that resembled an alpaca. And these are the parts that came in the box. Corner protectors for the medicine cabinet.
Oh, wow.
Somehow. So when I saw these pieces, I like, it looks like some kind of puzzle pieces, and I started to play with them, assemble and reassemble, one by one in group, and it came out, the shape, little by little. You see the pieces, of foam, and
and so, what is the actual piece made out of?
My sculpture is made on concrete. So after having the idea of this shape, I started to think, how am I gonna make it as a real sculpture, solid. So it came to me the idea of making a mold. See the mold here, with the shape, and I poured in concrete. This is solid. So this concrete, is made with ready mixed concrete, marble chips, grout, and white cement. So I put some wires to make it rigid inside to avoid breaking these little pieces here. And this is the first one I made. So it was great. I continue to make all 6 pieces. That is the alpaca complete. Yeah, I have it here. And you can see there how beautiful are the corners, the entrance, the detachments down here. And when it is a sunny day, it's beautiful, the shadows, projected over the rest of the volume. Yeah, that's why I like it, Okay. And this is the alpaca. It couldn't be a horse, but this is alpaca. It looks like alpaca.
Well, thank you so much. It's fascinating that you can see those pieces. That's, I think, one of my favorite things that I've gotten to see with all of these wonderful artists we've interviewed on the red carpet is you got to see how everyone thought about things around them. And so you took just the packaging that gets created to hold your medicine cabinet and you made it into an alpaca. That's so cool.
Exactly.
Like, it's such a cool thing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Gil. I hope you have a great rest of your day and enjoy the
Thank
ceremony.
you for inviting me. Yeah, and it is great, to have a first place, among all these great artists competing.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a couple comments, and then we're going to get on to our last person. So we have a comment from Theodore Lawton, which is, it's great when the artist can flow with the work. And Theodore was going to be on, and he may be able to pop in at the end, but if not, it's okay. And we'll show his work. And then, I love the sculpture. It's great to know the process. And then we have a comment from Jane Lippincott. Hi, Jane. She says, tell us a little bit more about the organization and how a senior like me can be part of it next year. This has been a wonderful program, and it's great to hear the artists talk about their work. And so what I would say is I'm going to direct you to our website. So the website is right here. I'll bring it up onto the screen. The website is NJ Senior Arts, or NJ Senior Arts, yes, at njseniorarts.com. So I'll put that on screen. njseniorarts.com. And so definitely go check that out. But after you watch the ceremony, which is coming up in about 5 minutes, so we're going to get going soon. Okay, so I'm going to bring our last artist on, which is Pam. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Jocelyn.
Hi.
Again, I'm going to say the same thing. This is a wonderful program that you've started for us, and and showing everybody, and it's very interesting.
Yes, I'm glad it is. It's been enlightening for me. I'm not much of a visual artist, and so it's great to hear how everyone can talk about their art in that way.
Right.
And so I'm going to put your art on screen, and let's see here. Share screen. And then you won for what exactly?
For the watercolor, professional watercolor.
Okay.
It's the 3 chickens. Do you have it there?
Yes, I have it. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, the free range. It started out, I took these pictures years ago, and it's a combination of several pictures, and we have chickens, our neighbors have chickens, and a couple of our chickens got out and joined their chickens. So it was just something that I wanted to paint. Doing a lot of textures and just doing the chickens was fun to do. I love doing all the different animals. I did send you other pictures. And too, living in New Jersey is just wonderful. You're just so surrounded by so much of the wildlife and, the animals from the farms. This was on 4th of July. It was a hot day, so all the cows were getting cooled off in the water, and they're good friends of ours. And we were going to their house for the picnic, and I said, wait, stop and back up quick. So, but
well, that's very cool. And then this is
the garlic. That was from my garden. I collected the garlic and I trimmed it all off. You dry it and you go through the whole process. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a picture of that. So, and that's what came out of it. It's a large piece. It's behind me. But it's fun painting, especially all one value like that. It's all, to try to show the different colorations in the garlic.
And then there's one more, I believe. There we go. Yes.
Yeah. Every year, I have a painting group that comes to my house, and I teach on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we've come through a tradition of painting our own Christmas cards every year. So this was what I had done for my Christmas card this year. So it's interesting to see how everybody comes up with their cards, whether they're all just hand painted or, we take them and have them printed, or we send them off to get them printed. And it's interesting. So
It's interesting to see how people represent themselves.
Yes, exactly. And so people are so diverse, as you've seen over this whole broadcast. It's fascinating to see this. I mean, I was a elementary school teacher for art for 30 some years, and then retiring to watch one little grandson, and then along came the second one. But during that retirement now, I've been able to pick up classes and teach retirees and just enjoy life.
Yeah, which is extraordinarily important.
Yes, especially today and these days, you know, it's like you try to enjoy it because you just don't know
what's going to happen next.
Exactly.
And so it's interesting that you got to show so much produce and show your county. And that's something which I've seen from each of you, from each of the artists across the whole time, is that you really support your county and you show things about your county.
Yeah, it does. And I'm surrounded by farmland. I mean, we live on a farm and it's just, we're surrounded by it. And people don't know that. When you say you live in New Jersey, they only think of the city areas, you know, by Newark and the airport. And they don't realize that, you know, we are still the Garden State.
Yep. That's something about New Jersey that's great, is we're the Garden State. We also have the city, and we also have the beach.
Yeah, which is fun. But
well,
thank you again,
so
Jocelyn.
much.
This was great.
Of course. And so that is all of our artists today who got to come on. And we're so thankful for everyone who came on. And so we're going to read some comments before I send you off to go navigate to the actual ceremony. Congratulations to all the artists, and thank you, New Jersey, for that. That's from Joy. And then from Carla, I love the NJ Senior Art Show. We have a great talent in the Garden State, which is very, very true. And she said, thank you for hosting this. And thank you for watching. And then she said, thank you to NJ Culture and Heritage for having this bonus for us. Of course. And so I'm going to put the link to the YouTube channel in the comments. And then for everyone who's in the studio here, there's the link to navigate. And then also I'm going to put this on the description of the video for those who are watching. So please go navigate to the to that right now. Thank you so very much. And have an awesome, awesome day.